How do I fall out of love with my best friend before I ruin everything? I have accepted that I am in love with my best friend, B. We have been friends for over 10 years. It finally clicked in my head this past year that the way I feel about B is different than how friends feel about each other. I will be the first to admit that I am terrible at social interactions and making friends, so B is my only close friend. I have had other friends in the past and never had the same deep connection with them that I have with B. B is really easy to talk to and understands me completely. We lived together in college and we spent all our time together and never got on each other's nerves. I have a hard time connecting with people, but with B it's like she gets me without any explanation. For a long time I thought this is just what it's like to have a really good close friend. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that the way I would interact with B could be considered too much for friends, sending sappy messages and memes about how much I love her and miss her, how I wish I could see her every day, how she is the only person who gets me, how I would not be okay without her. Even the way I was talking about her to other people came across as suspicious because I am normally not very gushy/loving, and when I talk about her I just sing her praises because she is the best person in my life. I really knew I loved her when I realized that I would do anything for her without complaint. The snag is that while I think there is a non-zero chance that B could feel the same way, B is currently dating someone else. When B started dating her GF, I had not fully accepted that I am a lesbian and had not come out. Once I did come out, their relationship was serious. I was also still kind of coming to terms with things and gearing up to come out to my family, so I wasn't in a place to process any feelings I had for B. B has been with the same GF for several years now in a seemingly happy relationship. Although I don't necessarily think that B and her GF are a good fit, B says she is happy and I'm biased anyway. I don't ever want to get in the way of B's happiness. If B was single I could probably work myself up into telling her how I feel, because at worst she could reject me and things would be weird for a while, but we probably wouldn't stop being friends. But if I were to tell her while she is still dating her GF, I think the GF would be totally justified in not wanting me and B to be friends anymore, as it would kind of be disrespectful of their relationship. I feel like telling B how I feel will only result in me losing her completely, and I don't think I could take that, as selfish as that is. I am currently living several cities away from B for grad school. You would think that the distance would have helped stem these feelings, but it did not. I was really lonely in grad school. I tried making friends and dating, but I didn't make any strong connections while here. I just worry that maybe B is the only person I'll ever have this connection with. We have not been able to hang out more than a few times a year since I moved away, and have contact limited to basically just leaving each other voice notes since we have both been so busy. Even with all this distance between us and limited contact, my feelings haven't wavered. Now that I've finished grad school I am moving closer to B, and I need to stop feeling this way or she will catch on and I will totally upend her life and ruin her happiness. Part of me hopes I'm just romanticizing our relationship and that when I see her more often I will stop feeling this way, but part of me also feels so strongly that my feelings are not frivolous and will not ever go away. So, my question is, how do I fall out of love with B if putting distance between us and dating other people didn't work? Comment. Move on, dude. I was in a similar situation with someone. We actually had a semi-romantic relationship. It was a deep connection and we liked each other, but for reasons out of our control we couldn't be anything serious. Only intimate lover friends. Anyway, she wasn't in a position for anything serious, being emotionally unavailable. I couldn't hold my emotions for her anymore and expressed to her how much I wanted to be with her. Long story short, she basically backed off/spooked and just ghosted me cold turkey. We had this sort of relationship for over 10 years. Not to mention I was her go-to emotional support that entire time and supported her a lot. We didn't see each other that much, but we always kept in contact and saw each other every now. We have never had a bad experience with one another. In person or by phone/text everything was so cool. She actually started getting closer to me, calling me, texting, FaceTiming me, We started seeing each other more after finally having a chance at something serious. To me that was a cue. 10 plus years building a relationship and it was all gone in a matters of days. My advice is don't try anything while she's in a relationship if things are going well for her. You can move on or wait until she's single and drop hints, but never reveal everything unless she starts showing lots of interest. Otherwise you risk losing her completely even as a friend. Next story 2. Is my dad manipulating me and my brother or am I a bad son? My mom and dad have been divorced for 8 plus years. My mom has custody and we usually see my dad once a week and we used to talk on the phone almost daily, but as of a couple months back I've been seeing him less and I've stopped talking to him on the phone. My reason for this is that I feel like he is manipulative with me and my brother. For example, when I graduated and started my vacation he said I had to see him for a minimum amount of days and if we didn't he would stop being my dad and stop supporting me and my brother. This is not the first time he's done something like this. For a while my brother stopped coming with me to see my dad, and on the ride back my dad would say that he only has one son now because my brother won't see him. This started fights between my brother and I brother because every time he doesn't want to come I know that I'll be the one to have to deal with my dad being angry at me and yelling. When the pandemic hit we obviously couldn't see my dad because he doesn't live with us and it wouldn't be safe, so he started telling us that we weren't family anymore and that if we wanted to be family again we had to see him more. Those 2 years I got nothing for my birthday or Christmas. There's many more cases of this. But this post would be much more longer. The main reason I made this post is because I always feel bad and guilty about not seeing him or talking on the phone as much. He is still my dad and I feel bad about it because it's not all bad. He has his moments when he is funny or nice but the bad outweighs the good in my eyes. This Saturday after 2 weeks of not seeing him he told us that he wasn't planning on contacting us again. My brother asked him if he wanted to see us, and that we had to decide there and then whether or not we wanted to have a relationship with him. I don't know what to do. The situation has been ongoing ever since my parents got divorced. My mom says we should cut contact with him because he is a manipulator, but I feel it's unfair because he is our dad and he wants to see us. He also always says that we are the most important thing to him, but if it weren't for the government he would not give child care, and when we were kids and would get sick he would always look for the cheapest doctor or medicine possible, even though we could always afford a better one. I'm sorry if it's a little hard to understand the situation, but it's so many years and years I had to compact. It was really tough making it all make sense in one post. So should I cut ties with my dad or should I be a better son and see him more? Next story 3. Boyfriend says he thinks he might be a romantic, but is he serious or is this an excuse to get out of being romantic with me? My boyfriend and I have been dating for 2 years now. And although I am basically obsessed with this man, we have come to a certain issue over and over again and I don't know how to go about it. We try to make a point to communicate our feelings and trying to make healthy relationship choices, and overall our relationship from my point of view is pretty great. We have our ups and downs, but we do a pretty good job of working through it. But a problem I've found with not just specifically this man but a lot of men in general is that they don't like to do the whole romance thing. Or maybe it is just me and I'm attracting some unromantic men. Not all men though. I have dated a couple men who do the most and it's sweet and I love it, though sometimes it can be a bit much, but that's not the point. Anyways, I've communicated to my boyfriend that I would really appreciate it if he did more romantic gestures like buy me flowers, preferably the unexpected kinds, not just Valentine's and birthday flowers, and plan dates or whatever. You know, just be more romantic. I also make sure he knows that romantic for me doesn't mean drop a whole bunch of money on a gift or anything if that's what he's worried about. I even give him ideas and whatnot. And he's attempted it a few times throughout our relationship and I always try to make sure I express how grateful I am that he's trying. But so far the most romantic he's gotten on his own accord is buy me flowers a few times. Which is nice, don't get me wrong. I freaking love fresh flowers. And I get very excited when he shows up with them. He's even finally gotten out of the red roses phase and started getting me like different kinds of assortments. Which I adore. but when it comes to actual dates or literally anything else, it feels like I have to beg him. And I start to feel kind of pathetic, and I can tell it just stresses him out. Other than this issue, I think this man is perfect for me. We have both grown so much in this relationship and gone through a lot, and we share similar values and views and whatnot. But it's just I wish he was more romantic. One day after I've gotten frustrated having this conversation with him for the umpteenth time, he says that he thinks that he may be a romantic, which I had no idea was even a thing. My toxic side was telling me that he made that up, but just in case I tried to be supportive, but I think in that moment I just fell into confused silence. I didn't know what to do or say. He continues to struggle with being romantic, and the flowers have come even less now. I don't want to accuse him of lying, but at the same time I feel like he's just using this as an excuse.